Hello my bunnies, it's Tikky's Trinkets here, and today I have for y'all another polymer clay tutorial. Today we're going to be making, well before I show you, a Plants vs. Zombies sculpture that was requested by this person right here. And they just said Plants vs. Zombies, so I wanted to do something a little more special than I usually do. I have a lot of bigger wooden plates that I haven't really been using, so I wanted to actually make a scene instead of just one individual piece. So I'm going to scoot in really close and get close and personal with y'all. And I wanted to make just the basic characters that, you know, the game pretty much starts you with. The pea shooter and the zombie, the basic zombie. Not the cone head, not the birthday hat, nothing too elaborate, just the basic zombie. And I think they both just came out so cute, it's hard to see pea shooter. And if you see the stuff inside of his mouth, that is glazed, it's still drying, it's still a little bit tacky. I'm impatient. And these both came out so good. The detailing I did on these, I tried to go as far out as I could. I missed a spot with the glaze, I'll fix that later. And the hairs, which I did with metal wiring and painted black. It came out super cute, and I really hope the person that requested this enjoyed this a lot. Like I said, I know it's not something I usually do, but I kind of wanted to make more scene type stuff as it was. Also because I feel like that's a better cake topper than just one individual sculpture or several individual sculptures. It's a whole scene. It looks like the pea shooter's literally about to go pew, and then zombie died. A second, third time, however many times that would count as dying. And yeah, anywho, I love how it came out. I'm not the best at painting, so please be merciful about that. The sidewalk came out really good. It was just the ground isn't completely even on this side, and it bothers me. It's not the squares aren't exactly perfect. That's fine. It's hard to get paint exactly perfect unless you have paint markers, and they dry up fast. But it's the fact that these are a little smaller than these. But I had to make sure these were big because I wanted the pea shooter to fit in the square just ever so perfectly, and I think it came out awesome. I used to play this a long time ago, so it's kind of hard to remember everything about it anymore. That was probably back in 2012 or 13, maybe older than that. I can't remember when the first original Plants vs. Zombie came out. I think Plants vs. Zombie 3 or 4 is out now. I think it's 3, so they still keep going. But yeah, I really like this scene. I hope you guys like this too. I also took the time to paint the border of the wood, which I usually don't do. But I really wanted this to be extra super special. This will be available on my Etsy shop either tomorrow, Sunday, or Monday. I'm not sure. But hopefully I'll remember to post about it on my Instagram when it's uploaded. And next week's tutorial, before I forget. Next week's will be the pumpkin type monster from My Singing Monster, whose name escapes me off the top of my head. And I still gotta scratch that one out. And then I had another one that I added to this list, another mail opening. I'm going to be doing more mail openings more frequently now that I have money again from my 9 to 5 and can buy more art from other artists. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to show you guys what I get as I get the stuff. I might even show sometimes like the stuff that my sister gets too, because she gets a lot of stuff from Etsy artists as well. Anywho's, so that way you know what's coming next, a My Singing Monster tutorial. After that will be another My Singing Monster tutorial. And then after that should be the Little Lazies. Well, I wasn't going to tell you what it was, but now I did. You can see it on the paper anyways. A mail opening from Little Lazies, and something I got from her, which I'm not going to spoil what that is, because you just have to watch the video to see. And there will be another mail opening shortly after that, once that particular item arrives too, so just trying to keep up with my schedule and let you guys know and keep you up to date. Alrighty, I've been talking for about 5 minutes, so I think that's quite long enough. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Let's get into this. See you there, my bunnies. Alright, for this tutorial, you're going to need all the following colors, which I'll go in detail later, but we're just going to start with the light green and dark green. Also, that gray actually needs to be a pale blue, so if you want to go ahead and change that now, go ahead and do that. And we're just going to take well, before I did that, I actually had some scrap clay. Specifically, make sure you use green in case any of it shows through. Or you could just use the same green that you're going to use for the leaf color, but I just felt like recycling. Next, I pre-rolled the balls that I needed, and we're going to start with the one in the middle. And we're going to roll it out into a little snake, as in a tube. And this is going to be the stem of the plant, so we're going to just take our long blade and just indent a line down the center, and then you're going to wrap it around the metal wire. Ta-da! Now it's a snake with a wire in it. I don't know what I'm doing today. Then I used some Loctite super glue and glued it onto this this base, I guess is what you would call it. That's what I'm using to make the plant stand up straight. And then I just took these 4 balls, the ones in the 4 corners of the squares, and rolled them into little teardrop shapes. And they are all going to be leaves, so what you're going to do is press them down gently with your finger, like so. Then you're just going to take some kind of tool and indent a line on them to make them look a little more leafy. Then take that Loctite super glue again, or just go ahead and stick it on. You might not even you really don't need the glue at this point, but it's up to you. And I stuck them on, and then I cut out the excess scrap clay that was showing underneath. You can still see some of it, but it's not a big deal. It's all green, so it still kind of blends in. Next, I just made this little budding part under the flower. I don't know what to call this, but it's a thing. Then the last green ball I rolled into a teardrop and did a similar process to the other leaves. It's just this time I put 2 little lines on the side to give this leaf a little more texture. Next, we're going to go on to the next green, which I believe is some kind of green apple color. And the other one before this was a leaf green, I believe. And I'm going to pre-roll the balls that I'll need. And the big ball is going to be the head, so you could just stick it on as is and use a little bit of glue. Next, we're going to make the little pea shooter funnel part just by rolling into a teardrop shape and then squishy down on the mat. And then once you squishy, use the little dotting tool and poke a hole inside of it to make it hollow. And then the other ball first glue that onto his face before you move on to the other ball. Then the other tiny ball we roll into a long snake shape and cut the snake so it's only 1 inch long. And then you're going to wrap this around the pea shooter. And when you meet the 2 pieces in the middle, make sure you blend it with your finger or a blending tool. I just used my finger. And then I also booped on some eyeballs with some plastic acrylic beads, which will have to come out before baking. Right about here is when I move on to the zombie, and I realize I grabbed the gray instead of the light blue, and I just changed that out. And you're going to need the light blue, a dark green, brown, white, and red. The red's just scrap red that I have, so I just went on ahead and used that first. We're going to start with this light blue, which I believe is periwinkle blue from Primo, if I'm not mistaken. And pre-rolled the balls I need to make his breeches. Sorry, had to drink something. Ignore my Facebook going off. And then I'm making his pants, specifically his butt. So you roll it into a teardrop shape and cut the top off and keep the rounded part. That's his literal butt. Then the other 2 balls roll into teardrop shapes, elongated teardrop shapes, and Facebook is doing a thing. We're having a party tonight, aren't we? Then I cut the bottoms and the tops off at an angle, and we're muting our phone now. And then give it a little more texture and fun, cut the one piece in half, and then just kind of F it up. Just rough it up. This is a zombie. It doesn't have to be perfect. Then for the shirt, roll out a teardrop shape, cut off the top and the bottom, similar to what we've been doing this whole time. Stick it on the toothpick. Again, it's a little dirty, doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be covered up, and it's a zombie. Next, I'm going to make the tie, so we're just going to take some of our scrap red clay. Not actually that much. I just cut off like a very small percent of that, like 10% of that. Rolled it into a ball, rolled it into a teardrop shape, and pinched it with my index and thumbs to make it into a tie shape. Ignore the yelling. My mom and sister are watching something, and they're getting into it. Then I textured the tie with just whatever tool you got. Technically, his tie is actually white on those detailings on the lines, but it's a very small surface, and I'm not good at painting, like I said, so it's going to stay red. But at least I added the texture. Next, we moved on to the brown, and we started with the 2 small balls at the front, and these are his feet. So you roll them in the teardrop shape, cut the tops off and bend them with your thumb and index to make the kind of footsie shape. Then I put it all on together, and as you can see right now, before his heavy-ass head is on, he can actually stand on his own, excuse my French. But once that big old head gets on, he can't stand. At least not on his own. Next, I took this big ball and rolled it out flat. This is going to be his jacket. So to do this, we're going to cut it into kind of a rhombus-y kind of shape. Just slightly angled, so it looks more like a jacket. And then you just curl that around him. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. He is a zombie. Now I'm coughing too. Then rough him up on the back, just like you did at the front. Add some lines for texture. And then next we're going to go on to his last two balls right here. These are going to be his sleeves / arms. Roll them out. And we're going to do similar to what we did with the pants. Cut the bottoms off flat. Cut the tops at an angle. And voila, we have arms. And then just attach them how you want. I know in the game he's actually hunched over more. But, excuse me, for stability he's going to be standing up straight. But I still at least wanted his arm reaching out towards the pea shooter. A little bit of action going on, you know what I mean? Next, we're moving on to his body parts, which we're going to use this dark green color here, which I did not label what it is, so I don't know the thing. And we're going to pre-roll the balls we need, and we're going to start with a small one in the middle and make a neck, similar to how you made the necks. Neck. He has a neck. Then I stuck his neck on, and then for his head, we just rolled into a teardrop shape, and instead of like I usually do with a more narrow part as the top, this actually going to be his chin. So we're just going to take our dotting tool and then indent a giant lopsided gaping mouth. He's a zombie. Then I took a small dotting tool and dotted 2 holes for the nostrils and 2 indentions for the sunken in cheeks. And then for his eyes, I used beads, and I did 2 different sizes because he's disproportionate on his eyes even in the game. You can use clay if you'd like to. This is just my style. Don't get butthurt about it. It's no big deal. Do what you like. Then I used a paintbrush to paint in that giant gaping hole I call a mouth. And moved on to the next 2 balls, which are going to be his hands. So we roll them in the teardrop shapes. And just like many times now, we cut them off and then cut out little triangles for the fingers. And yes, they're 4, not 5. I didn't have enough room for 5. You get 4 fingers and you like it. And then I just kind of bent the fingers, put it on the hand. Then I put the other hand on, just kind of bent the fingers how I wanted. And then just go ahead and take some rubbing alcohol and clean these bad boys off. I've also seen people do this with water and baby oil, but rubbing alcohol is just my preference. But look up tips and tricks. You never know. You might find something else you like. Next, I took the white clay back out because I realized I forgot to make his teeth. You'll see 5 balls here, but I only ended up using 4. Didn't have enough room. I need some water in my life. About dehydrated apparently. It's like a desert in my mouth from flapping it too much. Next, I took my little metal bending tools and put little metal rods in his head for his hair. And that set with those tools I got from Walmart. Then I took all their eyes out, and then they're ready for baking. I put wood under them for support. It just makes it a lot better. I baked for 350 at 12 minutes. And next, we're going to take this wooden base out, and I use my long blade to kind of make the lines straight as I can get them. As you can see, that doesn't always work, but we're going to paint over our imperfections anyways. Next, I took a gigantic paintbrush and all the colors of the gray and green spectrum I had. And I painted it on white first as a nice base coat. Next, we're going to go to the lightest color of gray that I have here and paint on the sidewalk. Which this is going to be a little bit tedious here over and over with just the paint and the coats. It takes a lot of patience to get through. Patient? Yeah, it takes a lot of hospital patient. It takes a lot of patience to get through this part. Once that's semi-dry, I took the shinier gray and mixed it in to make it look more like cement. Then I took the light gray and painted it on. Green. Oh my gosh. It's not like I'm doing drugs or alcohol. Why can't I talk? English. And then we're going to move on to the dark green. And we're going to paint on a checkered pattern, just like it is in the game. The greens are a little bit different shade in the game, but
it is what it is. Next, I just did the outline on the pavement, added a little bit of dots for texturing, and then I took the black back out because I realized I forgot to paint his hairs now that he's out of the oven, so I painted those on, not off. Oh my lord. Now I'm dying for no reason. Ugh, jeez. Loctite super glue, gluing the eyeballs, make them look nice and pretty. There we go. Then we're going to take E6000 and glue them on the base. To make it glue a little bit faster for the zombie so I don't have to hold it the whole time, I use super glue on one foot and E6000 on the other. It'll hold just as tight. Then once that's nice and glued, use polyacrylic floor varnish and you're done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video even though it was super cringy, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye my bunnies.